Welcome back, my friends. Welcome back, my friends. This is Big Cheds coming to you live. Big Chonis, do we have you on the line?
I am on the line, Cheds. Happy to be here. How you doing today, buddy?
Good. How you feeling?
Feel pretty good. Feel pretty good.
Yep.
There's a lot of interesting price action right now.
Yeah.
There's lots going on right now, and I just want to say that I love crypto, man. I love Bitcoin. I love watching these alts. I love just watching these charts. It's like a never-ending heartbeat, and I'm just so into it. So I'm really excited to be here and talk crypto with you.
Me too, man. And I know you're getting better every day. I know you're always watching videos on YouTube of lots of different people and kind of bring a lot of new ideas to the table. And you can find him on Twitter at Big Chonis. I wonder if you're going to have a small Chonis one day if you ever get married. You can find me on Twitter at Big Cheds, and if you want to check out the complete beginner's guide to cryptocurrency trading, it's chedstrading.blogspot.com. And lastly, I'm very excited about a new project that I'm doing with a bunch of people you've probably heard of: Peter Brandt, Tone Vase, Hygen, and See the Light Trading, and Bob Lucas. Bitcoin Live. It's coming out in a couple months, so 38 days actually. Kind of one of the kind, probably best in class type of service that I'm really honored that they even asked me to be a part of. So I'm going to be doing my part and put together some nice content for that. So we decided to do I called you actually 10 minutes ago and I said let's do some altcoins. I'm in the mood to just crank out some altcoins. So let's do it. Why don't you go right to the chat room and let's do it.
Okay. Let's take a look here. All right, so let's look at Vibe, V-I-B-E.
Vibe, and just real quick, we're not advisors, right? We're just a couple guys talking crypto, having fun. So keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
Vibe, V-I-B. Okay.
No, do V-I-B-E. You gotta put the E
Oh,
at
Vibe.
There's
Okay,
actually
Vib.
two.
Okay,
Vib.
Vibe. Okay.
Yeah, the I is silent,
So
apparently.
you see my screen. I'm at the 1 hour right now.
Yep.
I'm seeing like a long, kind of would be a bear flag, but it's longer than the flagpole here. So it's in a consolidation pattern. We're clearly seeing it play out. Let me zoom out. I'm gonna look at a 4 hour, and then I'll just ask you what your opinion is. It looks pretty good. It's uptrending and it's consolidating. I think that's generally where I'm at. What do you think?
Yeah, man, this is a bullish chart. I mean, you're on the 4 hour now.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact the OBV has been very strong. I mean, it's obvious. It's just in a very nice upward trend. Every time it goes a little too ahead of itself, it consolidates, but it almost broke that lower trend, but it held. So now we're kind of seeing another example here where we had a nice little pop, a gravestone doji kind of ended that little sell-off there. But even when we bottomed here with these nice long wicks in the 4 hour, we were able to maintain this overall trend line. We're still moving higher. There's nothing that tells me this can't continue on this momentum path.
It's interesting, yeah. I also wouldn't be surprised if it broke down here either, because we do have a lower high. So that's just one caveat. But look at this pattern, Big Chonis. See what I'm highlighting here? This 1, 2, 3. It's kind of interesting, like a 1, 2, 3 here. I mean, I don't know. So
yeah, I mean, it could be forming some sort of head and shoulders, which would validate what you just said, that you could have a breakdown from the trend. And if it did break down from the trend, that would be concerning, because so far we're definitely in this nice trend, man. The thing I like about it the most really is that, this has been going on for, I don't know, it looks like it basically started, let's just say, the first of the month. So for the past month, we have a nice, slow, steady uptrend. We bottomed around 22-ish. We topped off, well, let's say we're right here, about 32-ish. So even though that's about, what, 30-ish% over the past month, that's not, actually, well, obviously that's excellent, but it's not too fast. So I really like the fact that this has basically been able to build up this position, and that adds a lot more strength to it. We haven't seen any kind of big, like, little parabolic candles yet. So those are always a possibility. I've seen this pattern before with a lot of alts recently, where you kind of have this nice uptrend, and then bam, it just shoots up. So right now, this thing is definitely very bullish.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna next. We have a request for TRX in the chat room from Furkan Arai. Apologies if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. So let's go to TRX here. And TRX, we talk about this one. I'm on the daily. Starting off in the daily, clearly, we're very strong here. We're hugging, we're kind of kissing, riding that upper Bollinger with some nice steady buy volume and no warning signs on the daily yet. On the 4 hour, it could be consolidating and no real warning signs. We're hot, but it's still kind of hanging in there. I'm going to leave it there in the 4 hour. What do you think?
Well, I think on the daily, this warning sign is how high the RSI is, and I think on the 4
Yeah,
hour,
my apologies. You're right. You're right.
it's basically showing that. And the 4 hour, we definitely have a hanging man being put in right now. This ends basically in an hour and a half. So if we do close out this 4 hour looking like this candle here, that's a pretty nasty hanging man. It's also acknowledged this has had a great run. We were consolidating forever in the 500s, it seemed. We basically touched our head above 600. Once we did that, we were off to the races. The one thing that really stuck out to me on the 4 hour, you can see it, is that really nasty candle back on 425 that basically closed as almost a hammer. So that was on that first Bitcoin pullback from 9,700 down to where, 94 or 9,000. 8,600, something like that. So this shows the strength of Tron through this kind of pullback in Bitcoin, and it just kept on moving. So it's definitely had a great run. A lot of indicators to me are toppy, and I wouldn't be surprised if we basically slow it down and consolidate.
Now, you've convinced me. I mean, I was thinking consolidation, but I'm noticing we could be putting in also a 3 inside down.
Yeah, I see that too.
So, I mean, you're right. I did miss the RSI in the daily. Why don't you grab the next one from the chat room?
Sure. Let's take a look at Chris Garland and NANO. What's up, Chris?
NANO. Okay. Why don't you start with us for NANO? I'll put the 4 hour up here.
Sure. All right. So the daily, we're down about a little less than 4% there. This one seems to be correcting in terms of the stock RSI. The RSI itself is not overbought as well. The OBV is a little not too bad. Now it could be conceived some sort of a slight falling wedge pattern here. It definitely seems to want to hold this 70. Let's just call it 7,800. We would have, if we basically close right here, we would have 3 candles in a row that confirm the 7,800 area. So that's interesting. That really just shows that the bulls want to hold this price range, and every time it gets dipped below, it's bought back up. So this is definitely seems to be an uptrend. It's only on Binance, and it does not have a lot of price history. So there's really not a lot to kind of play around this one.
I think I agree mostly. I think the uptrend's broken because this is the line I'm seeing. You see this line roughly? I mean, that's roughly the trend. It's inexact, but it looks like that trend's broken to me. I mean, clearly we had the original downtrend, little bit of sideways, and then this kind of this uptrend, right? This impulse wave, and it's broken. And now this is a bearish consolidation pattern, but it doesn't really look. I mean, is that what? It's not a bear pennant. It is a falling wedge. So, yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much a falling wedge. I would wait on this one, though. I wouldn't, I'd wait to see if it maybe retests this lower trend line and wait for these Bollingers to pinch, too. I mean, you're still have some ways to go. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a chart that's still in play. It's kind of undescript now. I would definitely say it feels a little more bearish right now than bullish. But until you really break through that 77 area there, with a nasty red candle that basically closes, especially on the 4 hour, this chart's still in play.
Yeah, I think you're right. And here's your support. Is that where you said? Yeah, 77. I totally agree. I'm going to jump to the chat room next. Let's take a look at Christopher Seeliger and Seven Oaks Studio. I like pronouncing people's names. That will be half the fun here. ONT, I believe that was what they were wanting. I got wrapped up in ONT. Let's take a look here. ONT, just to make sure I have the right one they're asking for. And yep, all right, sorry about that. Let's go to like a 4 hour. Let's get a little closer here, buddy. 4 hour, we are seeing the stochastics RSI resetting. What's notable for me, my friend, and once again, this is Big Cheds, I'm going to indicate here a prior level of resistance, okay, which was broken here, okay? And now, with the stochastics RSI resetting, we may anticipate some type of a retest and bounce potentially off this middle Bollinger and support level. Given the on-balance volume here is strong, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is a chart that's definitely in an uptrend momentum pattern here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I definitely like to start on the daily just to get a sense of where the RSI is. And, you know, obviously this is a coin that's only been around for about a month and a half as well. So it's just had an amazing movement here. You know, these are one of those coins that are kind of a crapshoot because it's like, you know, a lot of the Momo is being pumped by maybe the potential of the project or who's behind it. So from a chart perspective, all you're seeing is basically a shoot up, consolidation, and shoot up again. So for now, is nothing that says to me this is not a bullish chart here. Only problem is, you know, there could be a situation here where if it does correct, I don't know, the kind of history of it really hasn't been written yet. So it definitely could have a long consolidation. I've seen that on a lot of coins where they have a nice start and then actually they have a long consolidation where the market actually begins to do a price discovery and basically determines what the actual value of a newer coin can become.
Interesting. Very good. So why don't you grab the next one for us?
Take a look here. Let's look at, you know, why not? It's an altcoin, Sunny Suro, LTC. Have you ever heard of LTC, Cheds?
Long Beach Tennis Club.
Oh, God.
Let's see, LTC. So LTC, I mean, it's going to be tracking basically Bitcoin for the
It really
most part.
has. It really has.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us what you're the Litecoin whisperer. So what's going on here?
All right, so like an hour ago, a few hours ago, we saw a pullback in Bitcoin. We saw a corresponding pullback, almost felt like a little more of aggressive pullback in Litecoin as well. We were easily at the 150 run range, and it seemed within a matter of, you know, like 2 hours, we were easily dipped down to the 145 range. Now we're hovering in like the 147 area. Here's my kind of fear right now with what's happening with Litecoin is that it continues to show a little more bearishness every time Bitcoin makes a move. When Bitcoin, I felt, had its run up to 97, even though, and I'll admit, Litecoin had a great move there. We've seen in recent past history that Litecoin seems to really charge up when there's a nice bullish momentum in the overall market. Even though we were able to get up to 165-ish area, it just felt like such a long slog to get there. And as soon as Bitcoin started to correct, how easily it fell from 165 to 139, I believe it bottomed at. So it just tells me that it's a very flippable coin where people are basically riding, you know, small momentum moves, understanding where basically to get out, and then the price basically drops accordingly. So as you mentioned earlier, how it's basically riding the coattails of whatever Bitcoin seems to be doing, I would agree that continued to be the case. On a daily time frame, the RSI is not overbought. It was approaching an area there and definitely pulled back a lot. The stock RSI is resetting, but has not even, you know, still potentially have a long way to go. And on the 4 hour, the stock RSI is definitely doing a bearish crossover, and the RSI is also still in a negative trend as well. But we have not broken any way in terms of our upward momentum here because we were able to hold the 145 dip about a couple hours ago. That's higher than the 142 range we were at a day or two ago. So we are putting in higher highs in the short term from this most recent correction.
So you're referring to the wick here, which was right back there?
Yes.
Okay, and now you're all right. So yeah, that's if it holds. I'm gonna go with the candle bodies, and maybe it's generally the same. I agree with your analysis. I think it's wonderful. I mean, if basically, I'm gonna slide this down actually. So if we lose this level right here, which would be like 143.9, like if we close below that on a 4 hour, I think that's a bad sign. That's basically almost like. That's almost like essentially a neckline confirmation break on a head and shoulders top, or just kind of a break of horizontal uptrend support. So I would kind of keep an eye on that. Sound
Right
good?
now, the 145 basically is now our firm bottom. If we're to continue this, you know, uptrend in this correction period, if I see a break of 145, honestly, I don't really even care about 142 or 139. I feel if a 145, 144 break actually happens, we're gonna totally break through 139
Yeah.
and test potentially 130, and that would potentially, if it happens, correspond with a Bitcoin pullback to the 8,500-ish area. Now, we might not get there. This could be a bottoming area for Litecoin in this move, and if Bitcoin is able to push back up to 9,700 and test that again, Litecoin could definitely push back to the 160s area. But this could take some time to play out. We're really waiting for these big spikes of volume that seem to pop up out of nowhere in Bitcoin, and then Litecoin kind of follows suit as well.
Yeah, that's a great call. All right, let's jump to the chat. We'll have to wait and see, right? Let's go with, did we do Neo, Jerry?
We did Neo, didn't we?
Neo, we did Nano.
Yeah. Nano.
Let's do Neo, Jerry Kamizi. Sorry, buddy. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. That's the price. That's the price for the chart. And I get the chance to chop your name.
Not everybody can be named Big Cheds.
Well, I think you're allowed to legally change your name to Big Cheds if you go to the court. Neo. So
it kind of looks like the Bitcoin chart. It's funny. It's very similar.
Yeah, it really does. I'm going to remove these old markings here just so we can get a fresh start. Yeah, I mean, look, this one, it looks bearish initially. And it looks to me, I mean, just in the short to medium term, it looks like it's going to test support. And let's see, what is that level? I can't even see the wick. Whoa, all the way down here. Yeah, I mean, it feels like this is going to go to the lower Bollinger. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the 4-hour chart is really where it is. I agree. I think it's bearish. I don't like how this kind of current wedge, sort of rising wedge, breakdownish kind of thing is happening here. I'm just trying to picture in my head what would a green up candle, look like? What would massive volume?
Is that what you mean?
Come in and look like? Exactly. I don't like how that looks. I don't like how, I mean, the stochastic is resetting on the 4-hour. Almost feels like it will go to the bottom this time because it didn't the last time. And on the daily, we're seeing it's beginning to reset, but definitely some more time there. This one's a little sketch. I'm not totally sold on the way the chart looks. It may have some more downward momentum.
Yeah, that's a great call. I mean, even though the stochastics is bottoming, Big Chonis, look back on March 6th. Look what happened then when it bottomed.
Yeah.
Even the RSI was low, too, at that point. I mean, it's a different context. Nothing's one for one, but you know what I mean. Why don't you grab the next one from the chat?
Sure. We got a couple requests here for Coin. What's up, Chill Spine?
Is that SC?
SC?
Okay. SC. I'll go to 4-hour. I like 4-hour.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to remove the old markings. And we're clearly in a bullish continuation pattern, a bullish consolidation pattern right now. Without a doubt. You can clearly draw a bull pennant if you wanted to pretty easily. You could also draw potentially an ascending triangle. What do you think here, buddy?
Yeah, I agree with both of those. There was some news out about, I don't know if it was Coin specifically, but it was about what the Coin, which I believe is a privacy coin. I could be completely wrong. But there was some really bullish news in regard to it, and that's what gave it this nice run. Now, you get the 4-hour up there, and I want to bring attention to that really nice rocket ship candle that we put in a day or two ago. The price was at, what, 2.25, and it touched about 4.25, let's say. So that was what, like 70% in like a 4-hour candle there. So, these are your examples where you obviously, it was more like a 1-hour candle. Yeah, actually the 1-hour chart shows it was only in 1 hour there. So that's a great example of, a trick that I like to do is when I'm taking a position in an altcoin, and I see this all the time, like there's just this random 1-hour rocket ship candle that in some circumstances you can go up 50 to 75 to over 100% in an hour. Now, many times there's not much kind of cash behind that, so you can't think of it as like, oh, I could have had like $1 million and sold it all at $1 million, $2 million at twice the price. A lot of times the actual money flow as you get to those higher points is just to touch those Satoshi ranges, not necessarily that you could fill large quantities of money, but it's nice to put some sell orders in that 75 to 100 area range to really basically catch one of those rising rockets, because they seem to keep happening over and over again. So it's a smart thing to catch that, because what you see here is we retraced and we gave up like so much of that gain there. Now this is definitely, I agree, in a bullish pattern momentum. It looks like it's consolidating bullishly, and probably needs another like half a day or so to kind of do it and make its next moves. I would not be surprised if it shoots up higher.
It's a great analysis. And just lastly, I'll point out this big rocket candle, as you called it, Big Chonis. Note how the following hour, a 4-hour period, there was almost no selling. So even though we had almost kind of like either shooting star or a spinning top, but there's no volume behind, like all this loading, and it didn't give it back.
Yeah, and listen, our history in this coin, I mean, this coin goes back a while, and we topped out 600-700 Satoshi back in our parabolic move at the first of the year. So you can kind of see where it has been, kind of see where it could potentially retest at some point in the future. It wouldn't take much. Basically, at that point now, we're almost 100% away from that, which in crypto world is not a lot there.
Not a lot. Let's go to, I'm seeing Ada in the chat room, Bitcoin Jesus. I'm not sure if that's his or her real name.
Could be Jesus.
Oh, Bitcoin Jesus. I'm sorry, senor. Bitcoin Jesus. Let's see. 4-hour. So Ada. Yeah, on balance volume is strong here, Big Chonis.
Yeah, it's real strong. There's they put some news out. I don't know the gist of it, but it was basically something about they're getting closer to actually creating what they're talking about. They're one of the biggest market caps without actually having an actual product out there. A lot of it is just this is what we want to accomplish. So to actually announce news that they're actually making tangible progress in a physical platform, and whatever the idea is really a big stride. And this one is, this was one of the biggest parabolic movers we had in the altcoin run back in the early part of the year. This went, not just parabolic, but hyperbolic. So I actually feel it could have another leg down from this movement here. But, again, that's kind of more or less correspond with what Bitcoin does, and that will basically dictate the whole crypto market as a whole. I want to say something really quick, though, about divergences, where we have, as Bitcoin is kind of hovering around here, we're seeing a lot of money flow continue to flow into alts. So winners and losers are going to be chosen over the next year in the alts. And we're seeing that potentially in coins like EOS and a few other ones that are just cranking right now, because the thought process is these are the ones that are here to stay for the long term. So you have to factor in how many are in the market supply. ADA has a very large supply of coins, like tens of billions out there. So this is definitely something you have to factor in terms of your valuation standards.
Great analysis. It's a 4-hour chart. It's still healthy, but we are losing our higher lows. So I'm starting to look for support to see if it's tested and held. First level of support I would watch is that 3086 level. Obviously you have a higher level of support here. I just assumed it would break. I don't know why. Maybe because stochastic RSI, look where it is. It's topped off. So watch 32, and then you're going to want to watch 3093, and then you're going to watch this 30. If you break 3, here's the thing. If you break 3, there's kind of an air vacuum, Big Chonis. Yeah. And you can see in the volume profile, right? There's not a lot of support. So you're going to watch 3. If 3 breaks, you're going to 27. So
yeah, all the money is much lower. And that's another thing where even if this is like a great news pump, there's so much coin out there. It would take a lot. It would take tens of millions of dollars in a very short amount of time to really spike this thing up, just because of how much coin is actually out there, and people will be taking profits along the way. So I wouldn't be surprised at more of a slow and steady decline, a slow and steady rise potentially than your kind of parabolic spikes you're seeing in some of the low market cap coins out there.
Okay.
All right. Hey, let's talk about one I've been talking about, if you don't mind, on Twitter, and we have a request here from Jerry Camses, CLOAK.
Yeah, CLOAK. I actually saw that you put out a nice chart, and it turned out it worked out well. It was a really nice call by you. Um, let's go ahead and pull that up. And well, not a lot of history on Binance. Should I go Bittrex?
Yeah, do Bittrex. It's been there for a while. It's been there for a
Okay, it's
while,
not
actually.
the new kid in town. All right, we're up 15%. Wow, Bittrex. You know, what's notable to me, Big Jonas, is the volume back here on what was that, 418?
Yeah.
And we're not seeing the volume here on Bittrex. I wonder if it all went over to Binance.
Do me a favor, Cheds. Go to the daily and then zoom all the way out.
Yeah.
And you see like all the way up, more and more and more and more. There you go. More. So, oh yeah. So right there, here's its history. So you see over the years, since July, there was a parabolic spike. September, parabolic spike. The first of the year, parabolic spike. And then like a couple days ago, parabolic spike. So you see this kind of short-lived parabolic moments with a fulfilling uptrend. Now, this moment here actually feels a little bit different than a lot of the past moments there, where it almost feels like we're trying to break out of this long slog where we keep putting in this lower high, but also a higher low. So it comes very close, it almost seems here, to wanting to break out of that pattern and be able to put in a higher high and a higher low, which is yet to do since July.
Well, look at this. It's clearly a bear flag, a bull flag breakout.
Bull flag breakout, absolutely.
I mean, it just had it. Is it doing it right now? It's a daily. So I'll go ahead and draw. I just drew a bunch of lines. You guys are probably like, what the heck's he doing? But I'm just going to real quick do this bull flag. And I'll show you that's a bull flag real quick. And right here. So it's kind of a bull flag. It says falling wedge. Essentially, oh, pardon me. Essentially, that's what it is. Bull flag, a.k.a. falling wedge. And an uptrend. What do we got? What do we got? All right. Yeah. So that. Anything else to say on this one?
No, it's good. Let's do a couple more alts, and then let's close it out with some Bitcoin. What do you say?
I'll pick. Right. I'll pick this one. Let's see. Marcos Giovannes. Marcos. ¿Qué tal, Marcos? Let's go to PO. PO BTC. POE. Not a ton of volume right now, but it's uptrending. But we might have lost higher lows. I'm just not sure yet. But we are holding higher. Sorry, we might have lost higher highs, but we still have higher lows, and that's what we're watching right now. What do you think about PO?
Again, all these charts look very similar, don't they?
Yeah.
It's tough to say because on the one hand, the daily, I like the daily. It's a nice upward trend, slow and steady. When new people come to crypto and they don't know what the heck to buy and they want to start with something, the very first things they end up start with are the cheaper coins. So at 600 Satoshi, that's like what, a penny? So this will be one of those ones that people might just want to play around with just because of its actual entry price point. So the daily basically shows the RSI was a little toppy. It broke the 70 range, pulled back, which is good. So we reset there, while the stock RSI is still continuing to reset. My personal belief is we're going to see some sideways consolidation and some chop potentially over the next couple days here. The longer we're able to hold this area here, the more bullish it'll become on the chart, and we can keep moving higher. There's a lot of history and resistance potentially around the 800 area, so I wouldn't be surprised if we are able to get there, basically hit a wall and try and figure out what happens next.
I'm actually pretty bullish on the daily chart, Big Chonis, because I'm seeing kind of an ascending triangle with a flat top and the rising bottoms, and I'm seeing a really strong topped off on balance volume. We're actually almost, we're breaking this prior peak here, and the stock RSI is cooling off. I'm actually pretty bullish here. We're near what I perceive to be top of this channel, which is like right around whatever 630.
Yeah.
And we're near the top of channel on a condition where you could potentially break it. Because you've got the RSI reset, stock RSI is pretty well also reset, and look at that on balance. So I'm actually bullish here short term. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got?
Well, let's choose one more in the chat, and then we'll finish up with some
I'm hungry
Bitcoin.
too. We got to go to dinner.
Let's do some XLM, some Stellar Lumen.
Okay. I don't know why that makes me think of a beer. Oh yeah, Stella.
Stellar, I guess.
I haven't had Stellas in a while. We'll have some this summer. What do you say?
It sounds like a plan, man. You know, the first thing that sticks out to me is some sort of a crazy cup and handle, sideways cup and handle on the 4 hour that basically is trying to break bullishly now out of it. That's kind of the first thing that pops in. We had that really nice run from 413 to around 419, where we hit kind of this trend line. It's a diagonal trend line where we touch there, we touch back on 226, and then we basically touch on December 12th all the way down to October, kind of this like rising trend line that acted as pretty strong resistance there. Now we're basically tested that 4,600 area once again and got rejected again. But the fact that we're back up here after that pretty nasty suck out from 46 down to 37 shows there's a lot of bullishness still in this chart here. And the daily definitely shows stock RSI retest. The OBV is super strong. I like to see that. And the RSI is going back over, not yet, but could be trying to breach that 70 area, but that doesn't mean it can't run there for days. So the chart's still pretty bullish, though, on little, decent wick currently on the daily chart, though. So if we do close in this area, that kind of shows that the bulls were not ready to push this way over 4,500 just yet. What do you think, Chad?
It's got a ton of history in this channel. I mean, you look at the lines I've drawn of support and resistance. So you got to expect it to not just punch through here. I mean, that would be insane. They'd have to, it would have to be some ridiculous news. So you're looking for clues of health. You have a healthy on-balance volume, and you're seeing a consolidation pattern in the RSI. You're maintaining higher lows. So I think this is just an area that even if you're a bull, you're going to have to expect it's going to take a while to break through. I'd really want to see this support level hold as a bull, which is right here at 43. So I think if I'm a bull, I want to see 43 hold, and I'll kind of leave it there. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, listen. Let's end with Bitcoin, and the thing about what we're looking at here is, even with this divergence and even with all the money flowing into alts over the past month, Bitcoin still will rule the show. So let's just play what if. So what if, hypothetically, we already have bottom, and 6,500, which we hit a few weeks ago, was our newest near-term bottom area. And from here and over the next week or two, we're going to try and pierce over that 10,000 mark again. Then the alts will basically continue to run. The counter to that is we haven't officially bottomed on Bitcoin. There's more pain to come. We will retest those 6,500 areas, and if we do that for a third time, we could definitely drop lower. That would definitely, in my opinion, kind of really stall out this alt market here. And so until that happens, the alts can definitely run. So even if we have a week or two more of this kind of sideways Bitcoin action where we're in the, let's say, 93 to as low as maybe 8,300 area, even with that 1,000-point swing in the price of Bitcoin, the alts will continue to find footing individually on their own charts, especially as money flow continues to fall in. If you see a super dump, like a real one, of Bitcoin, and the 8,400 area is broken, the 8,000 area is broken, and if we start to trickle back down into the 7,000s area there, there's going to be a lot of fear in the market that we're basically not out of the woods yet. And that would basically make a lot of people pause on their altcoin positions and think to themselves, if I get out now, can I buy my favorite coin or rebuy back my entire portfolio, at a third the price? And a lot of those thoughts will start to come into play. So we're nowhere near that. I do like that Bitcoin, even if it corrects a little bit, will still hold up the alt market. And if it was able to run, and if Bitcoin was able to test 9,700 and maybe even test that 10,000 range, then we definitely have a lot more running room in these alts yet to go.
I just put out a tweet while you were talking, which I try not to do during the show, just because I like to listen to the sound of your voice. And no, but anyway, on a more serious note, I noticed a pattern on the 1 hour chart, which is noteworthy, and I wanted to kind of get that information out as soon as possible. I detected a morning star. It's a 3-candle reversal pattern.
Mm-hmm.
It should be popping up on your screen
Yeah.
right about now. So that, that kind of makes sense. It's not too surprising because if you look at kind of how that came to be, we did have this almost like a three black crows. We dipped below the Bollinger Band here, an extreme short-term oversold after this Bollinger Band pinch. And we have the red candle, the doji, and the follow-up here. So this actually might have a little short-term juice in it. And I feel bad because I keep tweeting, like shields up. I'm conservative. I think it's going to go down. And then we get these little, you still have these little price movements. So I think we see a little bounce here.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. There's still equilibrium in the market. So it would really take the bulls just completely giving up and just dumping huge amounts of Bitcoin to start that cascade effect. This might take a while to play out. If we start losing this kind of momentum, I'd be very surprised if we, fall like hundreds of dollars in a very short period of time. Like that event, I feel, has kind of happened with our touch of 9,700, which felt very inorganic in terms of how that move went. And that kind of proceeded with Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash as well. So, the chart's definitely still in play. Another test of the 9,700 area is definitely in play. There's nothing yet that tells me the Bitcoin chart is broken. If we were to get back down to that 8,500 area there, then we have to see how that area bounces and holds. In the meantime, there's all sorts of intermediate daily flips that are available consistently. I just like to be patient and pick my battles wisely. Most of the time, the first correction yields the best bounce. We basically saw that in Bitcoin, we saw that in Litecoin, we saw that in Ether. So in this correction here, is that kind of easy money already basically out of the picture? And right now, are you basically deciding, all right, screw it, I'm just long because I like what's happening here, or I don't trust it, I want to just stay and wait for a better confirmation. Personally, I'm a wait for a better confirmation. In the meantime, there's a lot of money flow still in the alts and a lot of things to flip. Just don't overextend yourself. It's hard to say it, but you don't want to put all your cash or all your fiat into one coin. It's better to keep it spread out, diversify your portfolio. You'll have a better chance to withstand the long run, and you can still make a lot of money that way as well. If you're in one or two coins, these things have a tendency to, break down 30-40% sometimes per day. You can get pretty wrecked at that point, especially if you don't know what to do and you end up selling it in the bottom, which is kind of that trader's fear mentality. So for me personally, diversification, maybe holding a lot. You can put a little more into other ones you feel are maybe more stronger for the long term. But as something, even if I love the coin, if it's had a great run, if it's outside of the standard deviation, if it's shot up through the Bollinger on the 1 hour, the 4 hour, I'd be very tempted to take profits, lock it up. I don't have to completely sell my entire position, but on these runs here where you want to just take a good 20, 30, 40% in a very short period of time, it's heresy as a smart trader not to do that.
Great call. I'll just real quickly, I gave a shields up call because we do have a clear rising wedge or a bear flag that broke. So we have that bearish flag. Now that we have this temporary reversal pattern, this Morningstar, I'm going to watch for a back test of this trend line. So that would be significant based on my method, Big Chonis. I'd be watching to see this support, this resistance rather tested here at 91.42. I'm glad you were happy and able to join us today. When I called you, Big Chonis, I wanted to do an altcoin update for people. I felt there was a hunger, a thirst for it on Twitter, and we did it. And you can find my man here on Twitter at Big Chonis. You can find me on Twitter at Big Cheds. Definitely check out the blog, Complete Beginner's Guide to Cryptocurrency Trading, Cheds Trading, and sign up and join the list. Bitcoin Live is coming. It's going to be an amazing project with some great teachers and educators in this space. And beyond that, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and maybe we will give you an update in the near future. All right, buddy?
All right, man. Sounds good. Talk to you soon.
You got it, man. Peace out.
Yo.